Hello everyone and welcome to a new episode of Let's Talk About This. Now today's episode I'm going to be reviewing one of the latest musicals that I saw, and that show, well, let's just say, you might remember this from your GCSEs. Divorced, Beheaded died, Divorced, Beheaded survived. Ring a bell? Well, if not, then you will probably maybe have heard of Henry VIII. I hope you have. Most of the people in the UK had to study it. But this show is called Six. And this is a show all about Henry VIII's wives battling it out to find out who had the worst time with Henry. Now, I thought this show was absolutely fantastic, and it's actually now on the number one spot of my top 10 musicals. Not to say that Les Mis has dropped, not at all. They are both on my number one spot, which may seem like cheating, but I just can't think of a better place for them both to go. But this show is incredible, like I say, and I wanted to talk about it on my podcast because I've been bugging all my friends and raving about it for so long because I've wanted to see it for months. And I went along with my friend Adam, shout out to you Adam if you're listening, and we just had the best time. From start to finish, the show was incredible. It was 75 minutes long, which wasn't too short, it wasn't too long, it was perfect. And we went to see it at the Arts Theatre in London. Now this show, we actually had 2 understudies on as part of our production, which was absolutely fine by me. You know, a lot of people seem to realise that understudies are good. They are as good as the main performers, and you do not need to have a main cast on to have a good time because the understudies are fantastic. They're really, really great. We had on as a cast, we had Grace Muet, and I'm hoping I said your name right there, Grace. We had Grace Muet as Catherine of Aragon, and she was amazing. We had Vicky Manser as Anne Boleyn. We had Natalie Paris as Jane Seymour. We had Alexia McIntosh as Anna of Cleves, Amy Atkinson as Catherine Howard, and Maya quansah-breed as Catherine Parr. And I'm hoping I said your name right there, Maya. But you were all absolutely incredible. I couldn't fault one of your performances, and I loved it so much. Now, I find it hard to believe that this musical was made by 2 people who were studying at university. That's how amazing it is. And each song has a different style to it. It's all very pop and very pop rock, you know, that kind of music, but it's different, and each one has a different style to represent each different queen, and they're all telling their story in their own ways. This show is hilarious, and I recommend it to anybody who enjoys comedy. It's very sassy, very sexy, very fun, and it's a good night out, and that's what you want when you go to the theatre. You want to go to the theatre and sit and have a good time, and I just loved it. It was perfect in every single way, and I would recommend it to anyone. I'd even recommend it to my enemy because I just want the world to see this show. I never want it to end. It is perfect. And I just want to thank Amy Atkinson for saying hello after the show. You were really, really nice, and if you're listening, it was an absolute pleasure to meet you, and I'm sure Adam feels exactly the same as well. It was lovely to meet you, and we just had the best time. Everybody that was in the show was insanely talented. It was insane, and I was so lucky to have witnessed production for that night, to see the original cast, or one of the original casts anyway. All the songs in the show are incredible. So one of my favourites is Ex-Wives, which is the opening song, and that song is very upbeat. It's introducing you to the main queens if you weren't aware already, which I'm sure most people are, but if not, it's them telling you what we already know about each queen and how they died and what happened to them and things like that. But it's very upbeat. It's the kind of song that you'd hear on the radio, and that's why I loved it so much. And then each queen has their own song to perform, to battle out. And then obviously they realise that sometimes battling out in competition isn't the most important thing. And I just think it's lovely. I'm going to actually include my clip because at the end of the show they do a little thing called the Megasix, which is a medley of all of the songs that you hear throughout the show. And I would recommend it to you. I'd recommend filming it because they actually recommend filming it. They tell you to film it to get everybody up on their feet as if you were at a concert, which I thought was great, because usually theatre shows, I don't like people on their phones. You know, I'm very, very strict about theatre etiquette, But on the show that actually encourages it, then I can appreciate it because it adds it more to the atmosphere. And I just thought it was brilliant in every single way. I definitely recommend listening to the soundtrack on Spotify before you go, because you're just going to love the songs even more than you already would if you go to see it in the theatre itself. I love history anyway, so to go and see a show that I learnt about in school that I loved so much, it was just to see a different side of it was so nice as well. Now I'm going to talk you through each different song that we had throughout the show. So like I said, we already had XYs, which is performed by the entire cast, which was insane. But then we move on to No Way, which is by Catherine of Aragon, and this song is very much Beyonce style, I would say. So if you're into that kind of music, I would definitely recommend it to you. But she talks about what happened to her, and I learned a lot of things about her that I didn't already know, because I think you find that a lot of people who learn about this in school, they forget about some of the main things that happened to the queens. Obviously, you know that Anne Boleyn got her head chopped off and Jane Seymour died, and she died from childbirth and things like that, and you know that Catherine Parr survived and things like that, obviously throughout the rhyme. But it's told in a different way to you, so it makes you listen more, and it makes you listen to the lyrics, and it's told in a funny way as well, like I said before, so it's just perfect. But Catherine of Aragon is sassy, she's powerful, and it's just a great character. Well, all of the queens are great characters. They're inspiring, they're powerful, and they're great role models for women. I thought they were absolutely brilliant. The next song is Don't Lose Your Head by Anne Boleyn, which I love. It's such like a play on words song, and it's funny and it's entertaining, and I loved it so much. And it's just, it's perfect. Vicky Manser performed it perfectly, and I loved it just so much. Heart of Stone, next song by Jane Seymour and Natalie Paris. You could tell that she was a top actor because she put so much emotion into the song, and you felt the raw emotion. You felt like she'd been through some pain, and I don't know if she's actually been through a lot of pain in her life. I hope not, but if she has, you could tell that she was adding that into the song, and she was perfect in that role. I never want to see, well, I don't mind seeing someone else play Jane Seymour, but to be honest, Natalie Paris is perfect in every way, and I don't want that to change. After that, House of Holbein. My god, this song is funny. It's brilliant. It's introducing you into Anna of Cleves and her story, but before that, they take you through the gallery of how King Henry found Anna of Cleves and her painting, and it's so funny. It's kind of the song that you'd hear in a nightclub, and if I was allowed, I'd gladly would request that in a nightclub, and I'm pretty sure one day there will be a musical theatre nightclub, and I will be there every single night requesting this song because it's amazing. But that leads on to some of the faster songs. So Get Down is by Anna of Cleves, and this song is dirty, it's gritty, it's sassy, and I love it. It's Adam's favourite song as well, and it's also one of the funniest in the show as well because it's so sassy and it's brilliant, and I love it. And she actually had a pretty great life, I won't lie to you. She's battling it out saying that she had a bad life, but because she was ugly, she was given a palace and told that she could have people waiting on her hand and foot, and that sounds like a good life to me. I don't know about you guys, let me know what you think. The next song is All You Want to Do by Catherine Howard, and you come to realise that she's probably actually had the worst life. She had her first boyfriend at the age of 13, and she's had a few throughout her life. At the age of 17, she met 40-year-old King Henry and got married to him, and then he beheaded her 2 years later when she was 19. Doesn't sound like the best life if you ask me. And then we move on to Catherine Parr, and she sings I Don't Need Your Love, and this song is very much Alicia Keys. It's very powerful, and I just love it so much. It's very emotional as well, which you wouldn't think because it's emotional in a different way, and I just loved it so much. But then all those genres of all the songs that you hear, they all come together for Six afterwards, and it's really great, and I just loved it so much. Six is one of those powerful songs, and you probably will have heard it on the Olivier Awards if you've listened to that on YouTube. It's great. And then obviously you go into the Megasix and all confetti flies everywhere, and it's perfect. I would recommend that to anyone. Alright then, so that's the end of this podcast episode, and it's a very short podcast, which I hope you don't mind, but there's not a lot that I can say without spoiling the show, and I'd rather you just go and see the show. I'm going to leave my Megasix at the end, because I want you all to see it, and obviously there's a lot on YouTube of those for you to see as well, but please go and see the show before it ends. I don't know when it's ending, but please go and see it because it's fantastic, and it's going on a UK tour soon as well. I would 100% recommend it. It's definitely not going to be my last time seeing it. I'm definitely going to see it more than once. It's playing at the Arts Theatre in London, and then it's embarking on a UK tour after that, and I would 100% recommend it to anyone. I think it's brilliant. I really do think it's great, and it's a new show. It's getting younger people interested in history and in musical theatre, which I think is fantastic. So I definitely recommend that to you. I'll leave all the links down below, and also if you enjoyed it, as always, please subscribe, leave a like, and let me know what you want to see next. Thank you very much for listening. Goodbye.